Hello everybody, Matthew Armstrong here on day 52 of our 90-day transformation process from mediocrity to mastery. And what we're talking about today, we're carrying on with what we were talking about before, which is leadership, right? Leadership, following the teachings of the book from Dr. John Demartini, The Values Factor. You can get that at drdemartini.com. Oh, wait a minute, am I still wearing these? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's my meditation device, that's my secret weapon in brain training to become a genius. I'll tell you about that some other time if you're interested. Didn't realize I was still wearing that. Yes, we're talking about leadership, right? And we're going to carry on reading from the book today. And really talking about being a leader in a company and employees and things like that. But before we get into that, the way I see it, being a leader, the most important traits of a leader or the most important aspects of leadership, and why do people get attracted to certain people and want to be led by them? And what comes out, head and shoulders above the rest is just confidence and certainty, right? Just certainty, which is like the highest level of, I suppose, confidence. There is just a complete certainty in who you are, in what you do, and how you do it, right? And so that's what people get attracted to. People get attracted to certainty. So if you have a vision, then the bigger your vision is, and the more certainty you have in that vision, and the better you are able to communicate that vision to people, then the more people you'll get attracted to you to lead, right? And so this can happen in a company. If you start a company or a movement or I don't know, an organization or whatever it is, if you want to attract a great number of people, then what's criteria is you have a great deal of certainty, right? Because you can learn specialized knowledge, as we saw the 5 S's of leadership. You can have specialized knowledge, but there's plenty of people out there that have very, very specialized knowledge, real geniuses out there that aren't applying it. They're not attracting people to them because they don't have certainty, they don't have confidence in themselves or certainty, or they don't know how to communicate it or whatever, right? So with the certainty wins through every time, right? Every time, certainty wins through. And as a martial artist, I see it every time. I see it every time. Talk about greatest swordsman in Japan, Musashi. He had something like, I think, 65 battles to the death, unmatched. But was he the greatest swordsman? And what history says was he wasn't actually technically the greatest swordsman or anything, but what he had so much certainty. He just had certainty in what he was doing. He had ferociousness because of that certainty, and his certainty overcame the technical skills or the level of mastery of other swordmasters. Just his level of certainty. So your certainty is going to overcome everything else, right? There might be someone else with more specialized knowledge than you, but if you have more certainty than them, you'll actually win over. You'll win over if you have more certainty, right? And with that certainty, you'll take action. Without action, there's nothing. So you can have all the knowledge you want, but if you're not taking action, then it's pointless, right? So your certainty is going to win over every time. Another example, I used to work, a lot of people don't realize this, I used to work as a nightclub bouncer, as a doorman, right? And I attained a high level of certainty through experience and through just a lot of other things, martial arts and things like that. And so when I was standing on the door, I had a lot of certainty. If someone was coming to the door that they weren't going to get in for whatever reason, they'd been fighting, they'd been drinking too heavily, they were rowdy or whatever, I had certainty that they weren't going to get in, and they detected that certainty. So it very rarely came to an altercation with me and somebody else because they detected my certainty through my posture in my physiology and also how I postured myself. And this is incredibly important for leadership, is your own personal posture, your own physiology, and also if you posture yourself as a leader, if that makes sense to you, posturing yourself as a leader, putting yourself in that place and behaving like that, right? That's posture, right? And so it was my posture that would overcome every time. I remember one time there was a group of guys came to the door, and they saw that they weren't going to get in with me. I refused them entry. And they went to the next door, which was just down the street, another door into the same place. And there's a guy, a new guy on the door. He was like literally the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger, taller than Arnold Schwarzenegger, a hugely muscular guy, standing on the door, but he was brand new. He didn't have the certainty yet. He didn't know what to do. He didn't have the experience. And he just saw this group of guys coming towards him, and they saw him, and they saw the look on his face, and they saw that he wasn't certain. They saw with his posture, even though he's a massive muscular guy, they saw with his posture that he wasn't going to stop them getting in. So they just pushed on past him and went in, and he didn't do anything to stop them. And so I saw at that time this difference, this guy who was twice the size of me, and just the difference in posture, in posturing yourself as a leader, and having certainty that when you stand there, that none shall pass, right? This group of guys aren't going to get through the door. But he didn't have that certainty. So to be a leader, you must have certainty. So it doesn't matter if you have less skill, it doesn't matter if you're smaller, it doesn't matter whatever. You know, you have your certainty will overcome every time. And people will be attracted to that certainty because we live in an uncertain world. You know, this third dimensional plane is full of uncertainties, right? So we're all looking for certainty. Everyone's looking for certainty, right? And so we look for that certainty in religions. You know, religions are a way to provide certainty, right? We look for that certainty in different groups, different movements. We find our certainty there, or we find our certainty in just living a certain way, right? Find our certainty in having a secure job and a place to live and things like that. We're always looking for certainty. As humans in general are looking for certainty, right? So when someone has a lot of certainty about themselves, people are attracted to that. The same way people are attracted to a religion that has certainty. People are attracted, the best financial advisors, right, are the ones that say with certainty to their clients, look, the market's going to do this. They don't really know. They can guess. They don't really know what the market's going to do. It can go up and down, whatever, you know. If they really knew, they'd always win, but they don't. But because they tell their clients, look, the market's going to do this, they say with certainty, the client goes, oh, okay, there's my money. And so those are the financial advisors that make the most money, the most tenacious, the ones that have the most certainty, right? And it's in nearly any profession, nearly any job, that those that show the most certainty will win over. My certainty will overcome your doubt every single time, right? It comes with certainty. And certainty is a physiology. Certainty is posture. Certainty is how you position yourself, right? So look to develop that certainty within yourself and start and saying, well, how do I develop certainty? Start with your posture. Start with literally your physiology. How are you sitting? How are you standing? What's your facial expression? How are you breathing? Right? Are you tense? Are you relaxed? Is your face tense? Is your jaw tense? Or is it relaxed? What are you focusing on? What words are you saying? Again, the greatest salespeople are the ones that have the most certainty. The greatest salespeople won't say if, they'll say when. Look, when you buy this car, I'm going to throw in some freebies with it. I'll throw in four free wheels or extra insurance or whatever, extra warranty. They don't say, well, if you buy this car, what I can do for you when you get this, when you do this. The person with the most certainty wins over every time, right? And that's what the masses are looking for. The masses are looking for certainty. So if you have a company and you bring people into your company to work for you, then they have certainty there, then they'll stay with you as long as they have certainty, right? So look to cultivate and develop certainty within yourself, and look to be able to help others become certain, because that's what most people want. Most people look for that certainty. Most people are looking for security. They're looking around them, looking for leaders, looking for people with a vision, because most people don't have a vision. So looking for others who have a clear and compelling vision and have certainty in moving towards that vision. And when you have that, that's when you truly become a leader, right? You've got to have courage in your convictions, even when there are doubts around you. Like as the saying goes, when the voice and the vision on the inside becomes louder and more clear than all the opinions on the outside, then you begin to master your life, right? So let's continue our reading. We are reading page 318, and we stopped halfway through a section. So if you remember, so we'll just start here. The key thing to remember is that nobody ever works for a company or is loyal to a company. You are not even loyal to your company. You are only ever committed to fulfilling your own highest values. Everyone who works for you is only ever committed to fulfilling their own highest values. That is really the only true commitment anyone ever truly has. Anyone's apparent loyalty to your company, including your own, is directly proportionate to how well they or you fulfill their or your highest values by working there. As soon as someone stops fulfilling his highest values, he will move on, or at least let up in his productivity. Now, whether you do this process or not, if someone feels that working for your company offers great advantages than might finding work for any other company, they're going to give you the impression that they are loyal to you, to your company, perhaps even to your mission. But don't ever live in the fantasy that somebody is loyal to your company. They're only loyal to the fulfillment of their own highest values. If you ever lose sight of what their highest values are and misallocate their job duties, they might feel unfulfilled and end up moving on. One of the greatest lessons an entrepreneur or organizational leader can learn is only to expect someone to live inside their own highest values. No one will attempt to subordinate their own highest value to yours over any extended period of time. Anytime you expect somebody to live outside their highest values, you automatically get resistance and resentment. Why? Because people just want to be loved and appreciated for who they are. They want to live according to their own true identity and genius. Anytime you project your highest values onto someone without regard for their own highest values, you're going to end up getting resistance. As management specialist Peter Drucker has said, anytime you get resistance from an employee, it is not because of them, it is because the management team during the hiring process did not match congruently the job description with the employee's highest values. Or as author Jim Collins puts it, they didn't quite get the right person on the bus. The seemingly resistant employee was in an incongruent job for their highest values, or they did not link their job closely enough to their highest values. And so you have to motivate them to do what you want them to do, instead of counting on them to be inspired from within themselves. If you have to motivate someone to do something, that means that the person's expected or delegated actions are not perceived as being congruent with their highest values. Therefore, they require external motivation because the internal inspiration is not present. Then, when they are resistant and uninspired and require constant motivation, you're going to be ungrateful for them and they're going to be ungrateful for your company. Do you think that if you have ingratitude between you and your employees, you're growing your business as effectively as you would if you and they were grateful? I don't think so. Ingratitude is gravitational. It weighs your company down. But when you are grateful and inspired, you are phototropic. You are radiant and you reach for the heavens. Then, as the saying goes, the sky's the limit. The key to inspired leadership is understanding that every single human being is going to live according to his or her highest values. Even if they work for you, they are not going to live according to your or your company's highest values. They're always going to make decisions according to their own highest values, just as you are. If you can get very clear on that and not expect anybody to live outside their own highest values, now you have realistic expectations of them and life. Now you are set free to get on with doing what you're inspired to do, and in a way that will also inspire the people you lead. This is the importance of the values factor. Will we carry on reading another page? Another couple of pages? Okay, let's go. Hiring employees. When you're about to hire an employee, remember they are dedicated to neither you nor your company. They may have an expectation that by working for your company, they're going to fulfill their highest values. If so, they're going to energetically want to work for you. But it will be because they are dedicated to fulfilling their values, not your values. So it is wise to start the hiring process from the reality to the degree that a person's allocated job description fulfills their highest values. They're inspired to go and work for your company. It's really that simple. So how would this affect your hiring process? How do you go on from this realistic perspective to choose the most value-aligned candidates for every specialization in your organization? Let me tell you how I would do it. Suppose you narrowed it down to the top 3 candidates for a job by following the more classical hiring procedures, so that now you are making your final decisions. Here is a little exercise you can do to save yourself a lot of aggravation. 1. First, determine these 3 candidates' highest values using the method I explained in chapter 2, the 13-step process, right? 13 questions. Then you use their answers to ask a simple question. Ms. Jones, I see here that the 5 most important things in your life are, and then you name her 5 highest values. So I'm going to ask you, how is the job duty laid out in your overall job description going to help you fulfill your highest values? If Ms. Jones fluently rattles off an answer, what does this tell you? You can see clearly that she believes she will be able to fulfill her highest values by doing that particular duty. You can expect her to be self-reliant and inspired from within when it comes to that part of her job description. She won't need constant motivation and incentives because she herself will be mobilizing her attention, retention and intention to fulfill her highest values through that task. So you put a check mark beside that duty within the job description where she is highly congruent and fluent. Then you go on to the next job duty within the proposed job description. You ask, so how is doing this particular task going to help you fulfill your highest values? Remember, your employees' highest values might have little to do with your company's, or at least the surface. They might involve raising a family, rising within the business world, buying a house, or planning a comfortable retirement. Whatever their highest values are, however, you want this prospective employee to see a deep connection between them, herself, and the specific duties you're hiring her to do. So if she hesitates for even a split second, and if you see her eyes scanning the room or starting to look for an answer, you put an X by the duty within that job description, because that means she hasn't seen a connection between that job duty and her highest values. That means that you are going to probably have to help her to see a connection, because otherwise she is not going to be inspired to go and do the work in that area. She is going to need motivation and reminding from the outside. If you do hire Mrs. Jones, you will see a perfect correlation between her future productivity and the degree of her initial congruency and fluency between the various job duties and her highest values. She will keep hesitating and procrastinating and feeling frustrated about doing things that are disconnected or lower on her scale of values, whereas she will eagerly look forward to doing the things that are higher on her scale of values. Ideally, you would be wise to have every person in your company doing what is most meaningful to them. So you go down the list of duties in the job description. If you see 80% X's and 20% checks, what does that tell you? Is that someone you want to hire? No, because you're going to have to expend a tremendous amount of energy, time and resources motivating her, putting her in systems and bureaucracies to keep motivating her or other employees like her who are not inspired to do their jobs. Because as we have repeatedly seen, nobody comes to work for a job. They come to fulfill their highest values. Okay, we're going to finish the reading for today halfway through those various questions that you asked. So obviously you need to come back tomorrow to get the rest of them. And one more page, one more day reading about leadership and a company, etc., and developing a company. And then we're on to the next chapter after that, which is connected with our wellness, right? So I just find that just incredibly simple but powerful, and it does take a while to get into that way of thinking, of just seeing the world like that and seeing people like that. Everybody has their own unique set of values. Everyone's just looking to fulfill their values everywhere they go. I find that incredibly interesting and also valuable to be able to think like that. You know, some people, it's a very immature way of thinking. Some people think that everybody wants what they want. Everybody thinks that they value the same things that they value, and they're just not getting them for whatever reason because they're not good enough for something. So some people put themselves on this sort of like pedestal, thinking that everybody else wants what they have or that they want, and then people are falling short of that, you know. And obviously that's not the case, you know. You know, I have plenty of examples of that. For example, like one of my friends, he's you know, very much into his physique and been a bodybuilder and everything. And he used to think that every guy wanted his body. Every guy wanted his body, and every girl wanted him. And I said to him, look, not every guy wants to look like that. They really don't, you know. And not every girl wants that big muscular physique. You know, some girls are into slender guys, and some girls actually like a chubby guy, seriously. And some guys are just kind of happy. They're just don't put such a high value on their physique, right? And so then they value other things instead. And so that's my son at the door. So I'm gonna go on that one. So that's the importance of our values, right? If you haven't done so already, click on the link below. Join our tribe of financial freedom, our financial freedom movement that we're creating. And also, if you want to get on my list or subscribers, click on the link below, and you can do that too. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. See you then. Bye.